State officials will move forward this summer with the construction of a new office building for the Minnesota Senate. But Republicans have already been busy hammering away at Democrats on the campaign trail for their support of the $90 million project. Tim Pugmire has more.
GOP candidates argue that the new building is unnecessary and wasteful. DFL leaders view it as a reasonable solution to a serious space shortage caused by the renovation of the state capitol. DFL Governor Mark Dayton supports the project, even though he criticized an early design as lavish and un-Minnesotan. Dayton describes the building as integral to the Capitol restoration.
You don't have somewhere to put senators during the final phase of the reconstruction of the Capitol, and you don't have a functioning legislature, and if you don't have a place for them to go, you have very tight quarters and limited opportunities to use the Capitol, as I believe it should be. It should be largely available to the public. So, it'll be an issue like many other issues, and people have to decide for themselves.
A recent KSTP poll found the public disapproval of the building at 68%. The 4 Republicans trying to unseat Dayton are making it a campaign issue, and so are their allies. The group Americans for Prosperity highlighted the issue in a new radio ad slamming Dayton.
So Mark Dayton's building palaces for politicians while we struggle to make ends meet.
It's also an issue in this year's Minnesota House races. Republican House Minority Leader Kurt Dowd of Crown said voters are rightfully upset about the building and with the Democrats who approved it.
A good campaign issue is when somebody has done something that obviously is so out of step with what the public in Minnesota would expect. And this is really not consistent with kind of common sense Minnesota values. This really was over the top on the part of the Democrats. And ultimately, I think they'll pay for it on Election Day.
Democrats disagree. DFL House Majority Leader Erin Murphy of St. Paul said she believes support for the building actually increases once people learn more about the project's relationship to the renovation of the state capitol. Murphy also downplayed its importance as a campaign issue.
It's not coming up for Minnesotans. It's not coming up as I'm talking with our members, and they're out door knocking already. So I understand that the Republicans think it is an issue that they can use to drive division, and they will spend their time talking about that. We're going to spend our time talking about the future of Minnesota.
A recent recording shows the issue has come up.
The question is, do you think a new building for senators is more important than fixing our roads?
Good question.
DFL State Representative Joanne Ward of Woodbury was asked about her support of the building earlier this month during a legislative town hall meeting.
Yes, there are some downtown buildings that are vacant and potentially could be built out and rented. That was explored. The owners of those buildings didn't want us. The build-out would have been more expensive.
The recording came from the Minnesota Jobs Coalition, another Republican-backed group working to unseat Democrats. Ben Golnick, the group's chairman and a longtime GOP strategist, said he thinks the building will be a big problem for DFL candidates.
I think it shows irresponsible priorities or just kind of out-of-touch priorities, and I think it's something that we'll see continually brought up. I mean, the direct mail pieces or the radio or the cable TV ads kind of write themselves when you can have this, huge new building that's designed for part-time legislators.
Golnick said he expects his organization to also highlight the office building issue in some future campaign ads. Tim Pugmire, Minnesota Public Radio News at the Capitol.